The children sat close to the fire. The night air along the Mississippi was heavy and wet, thick with the smell of river mud and cypress trees. Behind them, the old cabins creaked softly as the wind pushed through loose boards. The Mississippi could be heard even from the quarters. It never stopped moving. A long, deep sound rolled through the darkness like something breathing in its sleep. Old Mama Liza sat on a wooden stool beside the fire, her hands folded over the crooked cane, resting across her knees. Her voice was slow, low, the kind of voice that made children lean closer without realizing it. She spoke about the river. That river had been there long before the plantation, long before the big house, long before the people who now worked the cotton fields. The river remembered things long ago before any of the children were born. There had been a young enslaved woman named Sarah. Sarah had tried to run. She had a baby only a few months old. She could not leave the child behind, so she carried him with her into the night. She ran through the woods, across the fields, all the way to the Mississippi River. She believed if she could cross the river, she could reach freedom. But the river was wide, cold, and strong. Before she could enter the water, the overseer and the dogs caught her at the bank. What happened next was never spoken about openly, but the people in the quarters knew. They took her baby, and Sarah ran straight into the river. The current swallowed her. She never came back up. For several nights the river moved as it always did, slow, heavy, endless. Then one night, a few slaves returning from the fields heard something strange. The moon was bright, the river was quiet, and through the stillness came a sound, a baby crying. The sound was faint, thin, but clear. The crying was not coming from the cabins. It was coming from the river. The men walked slowly toward the riverbank. The Mississippi lay still beneath the moonlight, shining like silver. Then they saw her. Sarah stood halfway, out in the water. Her dress drifted around her body like tangled weeds. Her skin was pale in the moonlight, and her eyes were empty. She rocked her arms slowly, back and forth, as if she were still holding her child. The crying sound continued, soft, thin, carried across the water. The men called her name. But Sarah never answered. She only kept rocking, back and forth. Then the river began to move, not with waves, not with current, but with shapes, dark shapes rising slowly from beneath the water. More people appeared beside her, men, women, some still wearing broken chains around their wrists and ankles. They were the ones who had died trying to cross, runaways, bodies thrown into the river, people who were never given graves. The river breathed them out into the moonlight. They stood silently in the water, watching. Then they began to move, slowly walking toward the shore. The men on the riverbank ran. They ran all the way back to the slave quarters, and none of them ever went near the Mississippi River. At night again, the children sat silently around the fire. The river groaned in the distance. Finally, one small voice asked if the story was real. Old Mama Liza stared toward the dark line of trees where the Mississippi flowed. Her voice was barely louder than the wind. She did not say she believed the story. She said she knew it. Then she lifted one trembling hand and pointed toward the woods. The children listened, carefully. At first there was nothing, only the sound of the river. Then something else drifted through the night air. Soft, thin, a baby crying.